to eat my first meal of the day. I'm intermittent fasting. And what did I make? Well, I have a half a cup of chopped chicken, which I made in the pan. And then I put it over sauteed greens, and it's one egg. So it's under, and some, these are sliced cucumbers. And so everything is homemade, and it's under 1,000 calories, and I'll have one meal a day. So I just wanted to review this podcast here, and the title is "There's So Much Sugar in Our Foods," and it's JJ version on health theory, and it's by Tom Bailu, and I'll try to link the card in this video. But they talk about a number of things. They talk about sugar and how we, as weight loss surgery patients, we were told in our pre-op education. I had a 6-month pre-op diet with my physician and my nutritionist before I had lap band surgery. And we were instructed in these classes, or I was, and I believe it was 2012, so it was long ago, but I'd been to several nutritionists afterwards. As a matter of fact, I even went to a vegan when I was vegan in 2000 for 1 year. In 2015, I even went to a plant-based / vegan registered dietitian. But we were told to read the label before if we were going to purchase the product, to read the label, to see how many grams of sugar, carbs, protein, and calories, right? And then we were told to not only read the label, but you have to read the ingredients, because when they say no sugar in the product on the front, that's really misleading, right? You have to turn the product over and look at the back of the product and see how many grams. Now, for me, on my journey, on my path, I was told one item for 100 calories, or like, say, for instance, it had to be under 10 grams, the product under 10 grams of sugar per item. So my theory is that if I can make the product myself, to buy the ingredients and to make like the salad dressing or whatever, I'll make it myself. I'm just a vinegar and lemon juice, or vinegar and whatever. You like to avocado oil. They say when you use oils, there's a lot of dogma around that, but they say the whole item, the whole real whole food is better than the oil, because they say when you oxidize the oil, it becomes caustic. So they say that like corn oil or vegetable oil, when heated, is really not good. They say coconut oil is okay, and they say avocado is oil, and then there's some people say olive oil. When I was vegan, I didn't use any oils. I only used the whole food plant food. And what happened was my skin became really dry, and my eyes and everything, and my hair fell out. So that wasn't a good diet for me. But this is interesting, because this podcast, I think you'll have a lot of value if you review it in segments. It's a lot to digest in one podcast, to sit down and review it. And they talk about several different things. And interesting enough, they talk about children and obesity and how they're eating fast food and stuff like that. Well, we already know that, right? Now, in my time, when I went to school, we had a cafeteria cooks, and they cooked whole foods, really, out of these big vats. These big vats. We had a cafeteria cooks, like 6 cooks or whatever, and there were usually some ladies in the neighborhood. And yeah, they prepared the meals and stuff like that, and they came out on these little trays. But of course, I was a picky eater. I didn't like that food. Of course, my mom cooked whole foods. She cooked from scratch. We never had anything, you know, TV dinners or anything like that. It was from scratch, mostly fresh vegetables, um, very rarely from a can, and we never had fast food growing up. But I remember I ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly, believe it or not, on white Wonder bread. And my lunch usually every day was 2 tandy cakes, and I did have those little things of milk. So, but I was really a picky eater. Yeah, I didn't. I remember when I was a kid, excuse me, if I had cream corn on my plate, if any of the corn juice ran into the meat, I wouldn't eat it. So my mom had to get me um, these plates that were partitioned so the corn juice would go into the mashed potatoes or whatever. We were a family, my family. We did not, even though years ago, um, if we ate bread, it was on special occasion because my brother had a problem with weight. And he was handicapped and in a wheelchair for most of his life. So, to adhere to his dietary guidelines, uh, if we had anything like that include like mashed potatoes or which was whole foods, um, my mother would portion his out his mashed potatoes or whatever, and he only had like one treat a day. Yeah, believe it or not. But me personally, as a child, I was a very picky eater, and I was very skinny, very skinny. Um, as a matter of fact, I can remember that my mom would, because I was always anemic as a child, um, she would want me to eat liver, and I would never want to eat liver. And I never ate fat. I mean, if one piece of fat was on the steak, I wouldn't eat it. Um, but we had the typical things like, that we were Italian, and my mother cooked. We observed like the no fish. We had the fish on Fridays and Lent and all that kind of stuff. But that's the way I grew up. Um, and we had always had dinner at 4:30. And as a matter of fact, uh, we didn't have soda in the house. We had iced tea. My mom made iced tea or milk. Um, and as a matter of fact, I remember um, I wasn't allowed to drink anything until I was finished eating. Yeah. So I learned the habit of drinking and eating, but when I had my weight loss surgery, I had to learn not to drink and eat together. And I don't drink and eat together. No. So anyway, I'm going to link this video. You might find useful. I did. I find it interesting. So I'm going to eat my meal at 4 o'clock because I'm really hungry. And I did no fitness today because it's snowing outside and I don't want to. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. See you next time.